she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Discount Power Sports at 778 North Main Street in Hubbard is hosting a raffle for a 125cc Pentura ATV. Tickets are $30 each, and 100 tickets are available. For each raffle, when those 100 are gone, a winner will be drawn and a new raffle will begin. Tickets can be purchased at any Hubbard home game or at 778 North Main Street or by calling 330-717-44441. $1,500 from each raffle will go toward a scholarship for the Hubbard Youth Coalition. Melodic Live is your home for high school sports. We have all the scores on our social media platforms throughout the games. Enjoy our timely updates from local area schools year-round. You won't get the consistency and reliability from anyone else. Our number one priority is servicing our fans and getting them live news as it's happening. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Melodic_Live. And remember, our fans come first.
Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it.
The Mahoning Valley Federals is the area's minor league football team. After only 2 years in existence and an appearance in the league playoff semifinal game, the Federals are looking to add Valley High School and college talent to help take the next step toward a league championship. For more information on how to become part of the Federals' journey, go to Facebook at the Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football Team or contact General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
Accidents happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192. It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here Here is Western Reserve Radio. Oh, a lot to get to, Dave Clark. Big week 5 in the NFL. We have week 6. Talk about also a little baseball. Yes, the American League Divisional Series and the National League Divisional Series is kicking off this weekend in baseball. A lot of interesting matchups. We'll talk a little bit, at least, what the matchups are. Then we'll get into, obviously, week 5. The headliner, obviously, or what started week 5 was the Bucks at the Falcons. The Falcons, big win in overtime, 36-30. And they got a little bit of assist by the referees missing a face mask call, which basically negated the Buccaneers from maybe kicking a field goal to make it a 6-point lead. And in essence, the Falcons were able to tie the game up, and then in overtime did when I believe it was on the third play from scrimmage, basically a big run from line of scrimmage, and I believe it was 71 yards. I may be wrong there, but bottom line is the Falcons do away with Tampa Bay in the first game of week 5, 36-30. High school football was obviously big in the area last night. Look at Dave Clark. What game were you doing?
Last night we did Louisville and McDonald.
And what was that final? I believe, what was that, 42-14?
Right. Yeah, and it was it was 21-0 at halftime, but the closeness of the game is just unbelievable. Louisville drives all the way down the field twice and then throws a pick each time. And stopped their drive, and McDonald's triple option and their offensive line was just, you're talking about just precise of what they did. And they couldn't stop them. You know, we had one of the backs who didn't play until right before the half. Matter of fact, 40-something seconds before the half, they got him in. He's basically on defense. They put him in the game at running back to get a backs a break. And he goes 65 yards on his first carry, and running through tacklers, stiff-arming tacklers all the way down. Wow. And he ended the game with 6 carries, 122 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Wow, big game.
Yeah, just for that. And the other guys ran for over 100 yards to the other backs. I mean, they just pounded the ball for about 390 yards on the ground, and just their offense was precise. They didn't throw the ball but 3 times all night. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So it was the old 3 yards in the cloud of dust.
Yeah. And Louisville was running the ball great, too, because the first half, as I just told Jim, 43 minutes the first half. It was at halftime. That's how fast it was. It wasn't any penalties. I think one penalty was called against Louisville. It was on the ground, both teams. But then when they made those interceptions and McDonald was able to score, it put them in where they had to start throwing the ball. Even though they had a running back that also rushed for 150 yards, Gino Perry. And last week, I think he ran for over 200 and something yards. So it was just one of those games that got out of hand and made the team go into a different mode and they couldn't sustain.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like we had some really other great games in the area. Looking at the scoreboard real quick. Fitch beat Perry 20-15. Warren Harding edged Boardman out 19-14. Mineral Ridge beat Campbell 40-8. Southeast beat Champion 22-16. South Range, another big win. They are now 7-0 and in top of their division. They 55-27 over Girard. Sharon shut out Grove City 35-0. Grand Valley 44, Matthews 8, Montour 51, Newcastle 6 in Pennsylvania. Poland shut out Niles 42-0. It was Sharpsville 35, Mercer 6. Struthers, big win versus Lakeview 27-9. United beat Latonia 49-6. Warren JFK beat Rootstown 20-14. East Palestine edged out Wellsville 28-27. Springfield shut out Western Reserve 12-0. Waterloo edged out Jackson Milton 30-28. Ursuline did away with Akron St. Vincent St. Mary 37-7. Hickory beat Titusville 56-21. Southern beat Columbiana 25-21. Salem shut out Minerva 55-0. Crestview shut out Newton Falls 60-0. And your game, obviously, McDonald 42, Lowellville 14. West Branch beat Marlington 64-14. Greenville shut out Lakeview 36-0. Garfield beat Liberty 20-13. Canfield came back and beat Louisville 23-16. And Beaver Local in an overtime, final overtime, beat Hubbard 39-31. So that was what was going on in high school football.
Yeah.
Dave Clark, were you able to watch the game, the Thursday night game, the Bucks at the Falcons?
Yeah.
A great Thursday night game as far as it was just edge of the seat. It kind of took a back seat to what happened with the New York Mets, the big home run by Alonso. I was watching both. He hit the 3-run homer to go up 3-2. The Mets were being 2-hit by the Milwaukee Brewers in pretty much the game that was going to decide who'd win the wild card series there. And the Mets had the big home run and started off with a walk to Lindor. And then Nemo singled. Well, they had an out. Then Nemo singled. They had first and third. And that's when Alonso hit the 3-run homer that drove all the Mets fans in absolute hysteria.
Yes.
And they pulled the game out. Ultimately, they got another run in the top of the ninth to make it 4-2 and hung on and won the game. And I know that was big on Thursday night. Got all the chatter on Friday. So now obviously the Mets have their work cut out. They have to play Philadelphia Phillies today. And I believe that's the 4:00 game.
Yeah. That's going to be tough there.
I think they're going to have, again, I think Philly could be the best team in the National League. The Dodgers have the best record, but are flawed. So this is going to be a very good American League and National League Division Series coming up in front of us. And again, the Tigers are, from looking at what the bookmakers say, they favor the Dodgers and the Yankees to be in the World Series, but they also say the team that's kind of the wild card is the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, they have surprised down the stretch, and it's a possibility that, if you don't have your A game going, that they can get in there and really surprise some teams and actually get all the way to the series.
What I found, I know we'll get to the Bucks and the Falcons. I do want to kind of talk about it, but looking at the baseball, my impression, especially this year, is there's really no dominant team here, and I think this is a wide open series as far as anybody could win the World Series this year. Who's hot can do it. You mentioned, like you said, Detroit. They're a wild card. They may be the hottest team. The Mets are obviously on this big roll now. And I could see any one of these teams winning the World Series.
Yeah. And because of it, which makes it good in all sports, when they call it parity, it's not true parity, but they're so close in talent that a team, all they have to do is be on a roll. And even though your favorites you may have, like you said, Yankees, Dodgers, some of these teams that are on a roll, like the Tigers, like the Mets, they can just jump in there and actually upset these teams. So makes it more exciting, more fan involvement. And that's what sports wants, to get their ratings up and keep making that, what we say, the almighty dollar. And that's what they definitely want to do. But that's what they're getting right now. So it makes everything more exciting instead of just going chalk all the way across and really saying, hey, that's what's going to happen. You really don't know.
Baseball is, of all the sports, the last time a team went back to back in baseball, you have to go all the way back to the 1998, 1999, and 2000. The Yankees won 3 World Series in a row. That's the last time a team has won. No team has repeated since then in baseball.
It's
That's
tough.
what makes baseball so interesting, is year in and year out, you just have a lot of different teams get hot, win, and then they fade away and come back. The San Francisco Giants won it in 2010, fell down and did not win it in 2011, but won it in 2012. And they didn't they won it in 2014. But it's just, baseball is such the proverbial crapshoot as far as trying to figure out from year in and year out what teams are going to repeat, which obviously it doesn't usually happen in baseball at all. And then ultimately now this year, and it seems like every year I say that, but look at last year, Texas and Arizona got into the World Series. They were 2 wild card teams.
Right. Yes, that's right.
And what we talk a lot of, people love to get into the momentum. Momentum, it's so important. And Bruce Bochy was on Mad Dog Russo, and he was, Mad Dog was asking about momentum and all this stuff. He goes, well, last year, Mad Dog, he was saying, we could have won the division. We lost 3 out of 4 to Seattle and ended up on a wild card. So we had no momentum going into last year's playoffs. They ended up winning the World Series.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about like momentum and all these? Everybody loves to analyze and break all this stuff down, but that tells you that they got hot. They got hot at the right time. Things fell in their way. They got lucky. We get a little luck here and there, and all of a sudden it's like we're in the World Series.
Yeah. And that's what can happen. And sometimes teams not playing well get to the playoffs and all of a sudden find their niche. And next thing you know, it's just like a snowball going downhill, and they start just piling up the wins, and that's what could happen. And I think it probably happened again this season. And like I said, that keeps all the different fan bases really, really engaged in these games because they just don't know.
And that's the best part. I mean, I do like one thing would improve baseball. They did it last year. What's really helped baseball is the pitch clock, because it's actually made it watchable because the games move now.
Yeah.
So I could actually kind of get into watching some baseball that, to be honest, I had trouble doing it before the pitch clock.
Yeah. Yeah, those games were, sometimes I used to wonder, I couldn't believe I watched so much baseball back in the younger days. I mean, I really watched it. I mean, on TV, double headers, everything. And then when you think about it, then the game started to slow down even more and more. And it was almost unwatchable. You find out you're not watching the game, but the game is watching you because you're asleep. That's what normally happens. But getting that pitch clock here to get these guys rolling, because, I mean, they would call off every pitch to the catcher. Then they got to take a break. Then they got to step off the mound. Then they got to do. Oh my goodness, that used to take so long, and it really took viewership away. I mean, unless you're the diehard baseball fan, it just doesn't care. Other than that, it was just hard to watch, and that was a great move that they did, getting that in there and getting it involved, and makes it a lot more watchable.
Yeah, it does. And I, like I said, I thought all in all, now that I've kind of watching it now, especially this time of year, I'm obviously, I watched the Mets the other night. I was also had the game on my tablet, watching it on Prime. And then I'm watching the Mets on the main screen. And it was just, I thought the Mets were dead in the water. I thought they were done. They couldn't hit the ball. The only 2 hits they had was Lindor had 2 hits, and that was it. And then in the top of the 9th, when Lindor walked, all of a sudden things started going, maybe. And then when Nemo hit the single and got Lindor over to third, like, hey, this is interesting. We only had 1 out. The pitcher got behind. Williams got behind the count. And you could see he was down 3-1 in that count. And I thought, this is, he's down. He doesn't want to walk Alonso. He was got to pitch to him, and he hung that slider over the plate. And Pete Alonso hit it to the opposite field, and it was when he hit it, he knew it was gone.
Oh, yeah. He let out a scream on it.
Yeah, he let out the scream when he hit it, and he knew it was out. I didn't know when he hit it. I thought, man, that looks like it might go. And he knew it was gone when he hit it. Evidently, he knew he really made full contact with it.
Right. And he knew he definitely hit the ball hard and going opposite. That's a little harder, but he knew he had enough to get it there, and it got there, and boy, fortunes changed in one swing of the bat.
Yeah, one swing. I mean, and now the Mets fans are absolutely, that might be their biggest home run in history. One of the biggest.
Yeah.
As far as, obviously it decided the series, a walk-off. Well, it was not a walk-off, but ultimately, and Marte got that big single that got the run in for the insurance run to make it 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically they were able to get the save at the bottom of the 9th with the and Lindor made that unassisted double play to end the game. And obviously he's worth every dime they're paying him.
Yeah. Yeah, the former Guardian.
The former Guardian went and signed the big money, had a lot of criticism. He started out slow. People were down on him. He kept just, playing through. And now he's had a banner year. And every Met fan is just like, yeah, that was the best deal we ever made. He's got Lindor as a free agent. Gave him the money he needed.
Yep.
And Pete Alonso's contract, he's a free agent at the end of the year, and I don't think there'll be a problem. I think Cohen, the Met owner who's got more money, deep pockets, he will sign him and give him the contract that pretty much Pete Alonso wants.
Right. Yep.
I don't think he's letting him out the door. Let's get back over to the NFL, because that's what we really like to talk about. We will talk a little bit about Antonio Pierce, Dave Clark. He's run afoul of Arizona State, and the NCAA is dropping the hammer on Antonio Pierce, Dave Clark.
You got to think about it. We've been on the air. We find little things that happen to the NCAA. It gets quiet for a minute, and they say, wait a minute. We got to pick on someone. Yep. Let's see. Oh, Antonio Pierce took somebody out for a muffin. Let's get into this and dig deeper.
Yeah.
And we got to get somebody. They have to do it.
And for those out there, I couldn't help get to this. I had to get this out. It just is. It's low hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this is what happened to Antonio, and I swear we'll get to that Buck Falcon game. Anyway, Antonio Pierce got slapped with an 8-year show cause order because of violations that occurred when he was an assistant coach at Arizona State. Most of these violations were related to what the NCAA referred to as a scheme orchestrated by Pierce to circumvent restrictions in place during COVID-19 pandemic. He facilitated impermissible recruiting contact with 35 prospects, including tryouts, football facility tours, and entertainment. What did he do? Buy him hamburgers?
Yeah. Took him to a movie? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he took him to a movie. Maybe he took him out. Maybe they went to Steak and Shake. They got one of those great shakes. Anyway, yeah, like Antonio Pierce he says obviously he has no comment. I'm employed by the Raiders is what his comment. I have no comment, and he said I am employed by the Raiders.
Right, and that's what I would say. And
that's what I would say.
And I think he has no intentions of going back to the NCAA. No. I mean, anything happens there, I'm sure he can get a job somewhere else, even if it's an assistant. But I think the Raiders will probably try to ride with him. A lot of I can't say turmoil. I'm a big Devontae Adams fan, but I do think you got to go ahead and just trade him because one of the things he's not at the end of his career, but I just the respect to give this guy an opportunity to be with a top-notch quarterback. He just needs to be. He can't flourish there, not with the inconsistent play of Minshew, and you just can't do it. So, and then for him to have to wait and see if they get somebody in free agency or draft somebody, it's just too much. So go and get some assets and play through it and just go from there. But other than that, I think they'll ride with Pierce. So he's not thinking about the NCAA for sure. I mean, but I just every couple weeks they do something, then they get slammed, and we wait maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it's always something else. Every time, Pat. I mean, they take stuff to court and just get, massacred in court and lose. And then we wait a few weeks in there after somebody else. They have to be in the spotlight.
Well, they like to go after people that they can't really punish. Like Harbaugh, Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
I mean, Antonio Pierce, I'll go out on a limb. I'll make a real prediction here. I don't think Antonio Pierce is going to coach college football ever again. He's a head coach of the Raiders. He's well liked by Davis. When they get a good quarterback, I think they're going to be a pretty solid team.
Yep.
And so he'll coach there, and then, maybe when he somewhere down the road an NFL coach so they get fired, he'll end up being an assistant coach, defensive coordinator with the team. Like, he will stay in the NFL, now until he does not want to coach anymore.
Right. That's the way.
Like Harbaugh's never going back to college. Antonio Pierce is never going back to college.
Yeah. And that's
the NCAA is like, they're shooting a gun with blanks. And why do they even bother?
Right.
I guess because they want to get out there and pump their chest and tell everybody that they still exist, which we don't know. And nobody pays attention to these people anymore.
No.
The NIL is, everybody's getting paid. They don't have any idea, and they brought it all on themselves on NIL because they didn't get out in front of this thing. We've talked about this countless times.
Right.
So at the end of the day, they're just pretty much a powerless organization that's going to and if Reggie Bush wins his case and gets NIL money and opens up the door for all the other previous players that can get NIL, NCAA will probably have to file bankruptcy. And then maybe that will put the end to the NCAA.
Yeah.
We could only hope.
That would. If he wins that.
Right.
I could just think of numerous players that can really come forth if they want to, and they would be bankrupt.
Right. I mean, look at Archie. If you want to go there, look at Archie Griffin with 2 Heismans.
Right.
How much NIL could have he got?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Archie's a great guy, and he's over what I believe is the athletic director of Ohio State. I just got an Ohio State alumni magazine, and Archie's on the cover.
Right.
Archie's 70 years old. He's well liked by everybody. A real good guy. And how much NIL could Archie Griffin get? Now, Archie probably wouldn't bother it, but if he did, how much NIL could they give Archie Griffin for 2 Heisman trophies?
I mean, I could go on and on.
Right. That's one. Right. Guys. We could start pulling guys out. He just, he came to my mind, but ultimately you could start looking at all these guys, great running backs, great college college quarterbacks.
Yeah. I was thinking about, they talk about with Reggie Bush. His partner there, Matt Leinart, is just going to say, hey, you know what? I didn't play as long in the NFL as I wanted to.
Right.
Even though I'm reporting and making good money, I'll get some more money.
Right. Matt Leinart would, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane what could happen. And they just always doing something. You made a great point when you said they go after these people, I think just to let people know we're still here.
Right.
Because they're going after people that is no longer in the NCAA, banning them for years and this and that. They're not coming back.
No.
So technically, everything that they issued against them is null and void. They're not coming back with it's nothing going to be done.
Right.
And
exactly.
And if they try to punish the schools, now you're going to really have hatred.
Yeah, you're just going to, that's the other thing. What's going to ultimately happen, I think, and I won't be surprised, they did punish Arizona State with all types of these silly violations, and then they have to forfeit games and all that crap.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm waiting for these schools to file action against the NCAA for punishing them and dragging them into court. And the way that looks, and the way the NCAA does with court, it's not going well.
Right.
There's our music. We will do the Bucks and the Falcons games when we come back get the second quarter and do our NFL picks. It is the Saturday Morning Sports Page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. We'll be back after a real quick timeout on Western Reserve Radio.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hiya, Queen of All Knowledge here, reminding you, creeps out there on the internet hack, scam, and trick savvy cyber users every day. But we can fight back. It's as easy as IC3. If you're a victim of online crime, don't give up. Visit IC3, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Your tips help the FBI track down cyber criminals around the world. Report your crime to www.ic3.gov today.
Saturday Morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, back for quarter number 2. Dave Clark, looking at the Bucks and Falcons real quick. Overtime, a great game to watch. I would say it was one of the really better Thursday night games to watch. Very competitive. Quarterbacks, Cousins and Baker, really have like going back and forth. I couldn't get over for Thursday night. 'Cause sometimes a Thursday night game, one team's a little off, but both those teams, and I think you got to give hats off to both the coaches that brought the guy Raheem Morris and
Todd Bowles.
Thank you. Todd Bowles had their players ready to go.
Yeah.
And that was a great game. It was really a good game to watch. Maybe it caught me off guard because I was thinking, okay, match up these teams, But it was a very well, I thought all of a pretty good, well played game for a Thursday nighter, and it came down to the referees not calling the face mask, which would have negated the offensive hold.
Right.
Tampa Bay would never lost the yardage and taken them out of field goal range, and they kick a field goal, they go up 6 points. Which means obviously Atlanta would have had to score the touchdown to beat them.
Right.
But they didn't call the face mask. They moved the ball back, took them out of field goal range, took Tampa out of field goal range. And Cousins engineered a great drive going down the field to get the 3-pointer. And then they got him in overtime. And what did you think of that play at the end of the overtime? I was kind of really surprised by that. I mean, it was like he's going in for a touchdown.
Yeah. And that happened.
It was actually a 70-yard run. And he caught, it was a 45-yard it was 70 yards total. It was a set 45-yard touchdown pass. It was Hodge that caught it. Daniel Lodge or Daryl Lodge caught a 45-yard touchdown pass from Cousins. He ran right down the field.
Yeah. And that's, it's never that Cousins is spectacular or anything. You don't pay attention to that.
Right.
But he's efficient. And he will get things done, and you don't even pay attention or notice that. And that's the thing that I thought he could do in Atlanta because they did have the weapons. And if they got a good offensive line play, I said they could be dangerous because all you got to do, you just got to protect them. And he can get things rolling. And basically, that's what you see. This has been an uneven NFL season anyway, when you think about it. Because teams that, they're back and forth one week, it looks so great. Next week, they're not the same. I mean, we just see it over and over with these teams. But right now, I would say Tampa Bay, Atlanta, they both are playing a lot more consistently. Even if they lost, even if Atlanta has lost in the past, they still have played consistently decent football or way above. So, you got a lot of the other teams that are just not. I mean, you got a undefeated Kansas City Chiefs who are not consistent, really. They haven't played really great, but they're able to. But that's a sign of a great team, though. They're still undefeated, even though they haven't played great. But that's another thing that we talked about. We love the season because it's so unpredictable,
and that's what makes the NFL the most watched sport.
Oh yes, it's you just don't know who's going to rise every week. We get a team, and we look, and it makes you just like open your eyes. That game Thursday night made you look at Kirk Cousins and say, "Oh my goodness, what this team can do." He threw for over 500 yards.
Yeah, 509 yards. He had 4 touchdowns and an interception.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield was very efficient. He was 19 out of 24, 180 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
He played a very good game. And then Drake London, the rookie draft pick out of USC, had an absolutely great game, 12 receptions, 154 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep. And I talk to so many Browns fans, and they say, see that? We should have kept Mayfield. I said, but he would have been playing in Cleveland. And not to put Cleveland down like that, but the reason I say that is I like Kevin Stefanski, but I remember I said this on the show. I think he does not. He's a great play caller in this, but it's play my system. And even though your skill set might not set my system, we're going to play it that way anyway. And you always seen the inconsistency of Baker Mayfield. But look at the consistencies he done had after. Now, I'm not even talking about at Tampa Bay. When he left and went to the Rams under McVay,
he did good.
McVay did his system, but he changed it to fit Baker Mayfield, and he was playing great at the Rams.
He was.
Then he gets a free agent contract to Tampa, and he's been consistent. Watson, I said it when he first started playing. I said, okay, I understand him running this system is going to. Well, why aren't you doing the Houston Texans type of plays that's what he did in Houston, but he didn't. He kept it in his system the way he wants it, and Watson looked like a guy that never played football before at the quarterback position. And I mean, I understand he was away from the game, but we're not talking about a guy that had, when he was away from the game, that had injury, major injury. Now, I'm sure he got a lot of mental things to be going through, but just seemed like he just fell off a cliff, and he wasn't that old. I think it's got a lot to do with the system. And we done seen it over and over in Cleveland. That's not happen.
Well, we talked about this last week on the show, and because we'll get to the Browns because they have to play maybe the best team, maybe the top. I think they have to play right now. Eye test. I would almost go out on a ledge here and say that Daniels is maybe at the top. You could argue that he's a top third. He's a top 3 quarterback right now in the league, playing right now.
Right.
Jaden Daniels is, to me, watching him play, and the Commanders, nobody saw this coming. They just dismantled the Cardinals in Arizona, 42-14 last week, caught everybody off guard again. They Monday night before that, they beat the Bengals. Mm-hmm. Went out. I figured, well, they're going to be down a little bit because of the short week with the Monday nighter. They won. Usually those teams don't do good the following Sunday. That ain't the case.
No.
And Jaden Daniels, right now, I can make an argument. He's definitely a top. Right now, he is playing as he's one of the top. He would be the top, maybe the top 3 quarterbacks. You make the argument he might be the best quarterback right now playing. Right. Just by a game when you watch him play. How Kingsbury, you talk about system. We just did a great job breaking down Deshaun Watson's issues maybe with Stefanski's system. Mm-hmm. Could it be kind of a system we get into the square peg round hole? Well, now let's flip over, since we might as well do the Cleveland game anyway. Let's go to the other side of the coin this week. When Cleveland travels to Washington, we've got a rookie quarterback, playing in an absolutely tremendous system for him.
Right.
And Cliff Kingsbury has obviously got a system so tailor-made for Jaden Daniels. No one in the NFL can stop him.
Yeah, well, they definitely haven't been. The thing that I want to see now as he moves up and play against teams. Now, Cleveland is not, record-wise, is not there. But the caliber of defense, if they can play their defense like they done had some injuries, but this is another good challenge for Daniels.
Yeah.
Because if they're healthy enough on the defensive line, And then Schwartz is able to call his multiple types of defenses that can confuse veteran players. Now that's going to be good to see if Jaden Daniels can deal with that. And the thing about it is you got to give Quinn credit for bringing in the right type of guy to be able to put his system. Kingsbury, they weren't crazy about his system for Kyler Murray as much,
Right.
but Kyler Murray's playing better under Gannon's system. So it's just certain guys just mesh with certain guys, and right now Daniels is doing great with Kingsbury, but that also lets you know why the Raiders was trying to get him, not technically for Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, but they were trying hard to get some way to get up there and make a play for Jaden Daniels,
right?
Because they felt that Kingsbury would be able to really issue the right system for him. And then when Kingsbury seen that the Raiders couldn't move, that's it. If you think about it, think about the situation. Kingsbury turned that down at the last moment when he seen that the Raiders could not maneuver up. And he knew he had to go in and work with O'Connell and Minshew. He was gone.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna.
Yeah, I think that was an all-together situation. They was trying to get both of those things set up so that they could work with him. And I think they thought, too, if they didn't get Daniels and they still get Kingsbury, they'll be able to get Penix. And then, that surprise pick by Atlanta of taking Penix after you signed Cousins to a big contract was big-time surprise.
Yeah, that got everybody off guard.
Yeah, I mean, completely. I never thought when they said Penix to Atlanta, I was like, wait, you just signed Cousins. I understand he's coming off of Achilles, but you're going to do that? Well, it worked out. It worked out for Washington. They stood pat. Nobody could actually talk them out of taking that pick. I think they were going to stay there regardless. They were going to take either Chicago's going to take Jaden Daniels and still Washington would have took Caleb.
Right.
Because both of them would have worked. And the thing about it, Caleb would have worked with Kingsbury too because they worked together anyway before.
Right.
USC.
And that's right, because Kingsbury wasn't he the offensive coordinator at USC, right?
Yeah, yes.
With Caleb. So
right. So he was he made the right choice because he was in a great situation. He knew if he'd get a coaching job and the Raiders can't move, I'd see if I can get in. Because at the time, Chicago didn't know who they were going to bring in.
No.
They that was a last minute thing. They was trying to get Kingsbury too, but once they knew that Jaden Daniels and everything worked out, and they went on and got Shane. What's his name?
Right. Yeah.
Shane Warden, or I forgot his last name, but regardless,
right. Yeah,
another retread as we talked about before, and he's out there, getting ready to destroy another quarterback if he can.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
I hate to say that.
I know.
No, he shouldn't be dealing with the rookie type quarterback. He's not the guy for that. He destroyed almost. He's a lot of teams he's been to. Young quarterbacks is not for him.
To give you an idea, the passing efficiency of Jaden Daniels for being a rookie, which I think really. I think you've got to look at that and just it has to blow your mind. He has completed 106 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
He's completed 87. He's over 80%.
Right.
Completion. 3 touchdowns and an interception. I mean, I can't remember the last time a quarterback did this, never mind a rookie quarterback. And this is the part that blows me away is his kid is a rookie and Daniels has got him playing and got we talk about it, got him in a situation where he is blowing it out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington Commanders, everybody thought they were going to be, probably they and the Giants would be fighting for the last spot. After watching Philadelphia play, watching Dallas play, I would say right now, and Washington's the best team in that division as of right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to say that. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, I know everybody's waiting for Jaden Daniels to come down to earth a little bit because no one expects him to continue this pace.
Right.
But even if he comes down a little bit, I mean, you've got to look at Washington now, and this is those teams, Dave. You and I talk about it. There's always one or two teams that come out of the woodwork that no one figures that. Where did they come from? They weren't supposed to be this good.
Right.
And every year you have one or two of these teams. And this Washington could be, now granted, it's only 4 games. They got the Browns this week. You can't rule out. I mean, right now, Washington looks like to be the best team in that division. I saw Dallas and Philly play. They're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington's winning their games going away. And nobody can stop Jaden Daniels in that offense.
Yep. Well, that's what I said I wanted to see I wanted to look at their schedule of who they played. And it basically not the teams because it's the NFL. I don't look at that, but I look at the defensive schemes, who you getting ready to match up against. That has a lot to do with a lot of things.
Well,
no matter what the team.
Let's go through this real quick. They got Cleveland this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's at Baltimore next week.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Carolina home. That should be a win. Then they have Chicago at home. And that's probably a win.
Yeah, it should be. Now,
should be.
Even though I will say the head coach of Chicago is a very good defensive coordinator.
Good D coordinator.
Yeah, he's a guy that's why I say just being able to play against some of the better defensive coordinators because I always thought it's the system and quarterback friendly in Kingsbury. But, one of the things I was listening to this past week with Marino and who they had, Troy Aikman, they had somebody else on there too. They played. They just talked about the great job that they did with him. They didn't force him to come in here taking 5 and 7 step drops and throwing deep downfield. He takes shots downfield now still. I want people to know that. It ain't like he's just dinking and dunking all day. But they do it in a system where they will just allow him to have his safety valves all the time ready to check down real quick. And he's real good at processing. So he gets that done real quick and he'll just go with the safe pass. He's not been forcing the football.
No.
So he takes what they give him and just go with that. And you keep that guy like that, then he could be successful even against the better teams. Now, they may have problems beating some of those teams because they can keep him from getting big plays to happen. And they can't score as quickly. And that elite team might be able to score. But far as him really just like all of a sudden falling off a cliff, I don't think it's going to happen because so far he's been very disciplined and they've been very deliberate in how they do their play calling for him. And basically when you got that going, you always got an opportunity. You always do. So right now they're playing very good. And but that's he's got some defenses to go to when he's got to go against Cleveland. He's got to go against Baltimore's, you said, and then Carolina is still in a rebuilding mode.
Chicago at home.
And then Chicago at home. So you got a good defensive mind in Chicago, but you also got to remember they playing in Washington. And yes, it does matter where you play at. Believe me, in pro
Especially
football.
in the NFL, it does.
Yeah, in pro football, it makes a big difference.
It makes a difference.
Yes.
Then they play the Giants at New York November 3rd after Chicago.
Right. And so that's the thing about Washington in the rest of their division, you just never know. The Giants played them well. And,
Giants do play them well.
Yep, all the time. And then you don't know which Dallas or which Philly team you're getting.
Boy,
now if you get the Philly team to play the Saints, they're going to have major problems, Jaden Daniels, because if they got that defense that's played against them, they're going to be problems. But if you get the defense to play against Tampa Bay, he's going to have a field day. That's the same thing with Dallas. If they're able to wreak havoc, then it's going to be a problem. But they're in a situation where they got their best pass rushers both injured.
Yeah, and they're going to
tough.
be out a while.
Yeah, that's tough.
And that's tough because
especially Lawrence will be out for a while, maybe about 6 to 7 weeks.
And that injury he has is he's got that foot injury.
Yep.
And that's nagging. And that could just be trying to come back from that and not irritating it and having a problem with it again and sitting out. And that's a tough thing to do. That could be a hard injury to overcome.
Yeah, well, it could cause that situation. I don't know exactly where they said the foot injury is, but it can cause that Liz Frank type of fracture. And if that happened, he could be out for the season then.
He could, and that's going to hurt Dallas's defense. Let's go ahead. Why don't we pick the Browns at the Commanders now that we're talking about it? It's the Commanders are laying 3 and a hook, Dave Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Browns getting 3 and a hook. I'll tell you, I'm going right off the top. I'm going Commanders. I might be dead. Maybe they're going to come down to earth. I picked against them last week, the Cardinals. We both won 8-8 last week, and they dismantled the Cardinal team, and they're home. And Cleveland just seems so out of sync. They struggled against the Raiders last week. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if Watson is going to stay. I know they got offensive line problems. And Watson still looks way out of. He just doesn't seem to be clicking at all with that offense.
No, well, I just don't think it is because of what they do.
You said it very, articulate.
Yeah,
very to the yes.
And if people say, "Oh, you just came up with that," no, I said that when we was talking after week 1.
Yes,
I said that when are they going to do? I actually put Houston's. Why can't you look at film and say, okay, this is my system, and then we're going to do the things that he was comfortable with in the plays that he's comfortable with in Houston? Why wouldn't you be doing that? You got enough talent. You got enough talent at the receiver position, tight end position. You got it.
Right.
I don't understand it, but that's what they do, and it's just that's frustrating. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm sure they're frustrated, and they really all that frustration goes to Watson because they lose everything. Goes to him. I don't care if the defense playing bad. I don't care if they're not blocking on the line. They're not tackling. It's all Watson's fault, and it's going to be like that. And that's a lot of headache and pressure to play under. So you're not comfortable in what you're doing. And then you got all that different fanfare coming at you that's all negative. I just think that eventually when they have the opportunity that he can go, he's going to go somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see Watson that was at Houston. Because somebody's going to be smart enough to say, we got to do things that he does well. Doesn't make sense to have him doing stuff that he doesn't do well. That doesn't
the
make
way
sense.
the contract is structured, he's there for at least, I believe,
another season, probably.
Yeah, he's.
I think you can get out of it some kind.
The
NFL, they'll figure something out. I don't know how.
I don't know.
Because some of the things that happen in the NFL, I don't even know how it does happen.
Yeah, I know. That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
I don't get money is insane. I don't know.
I don't know
Maybe
how they
you're
do
right.
it.
Maybe they could do it. Russell Wilson, Denver had an $85 million dead cap. Maybe Cleveland can figure it out. But his dead cap is $120 million.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't understand. I didn't think there was no way Wilson.
Yeah,
I thought it was just locked in. There's no way getting rid of him. But they did it.
They did it.
Yeah.
So
I just don't put nothing down. I don't know what they be doing. I don't understand how they circumvent that. But they do.
Anyway, getting back, what do you think? Browns or Commanders?
Well, I mean, until Cleveland can step up on offense, and I don't think the only way that's going to happen is a number 24 comes back and can look 90% of the old number 24.
Yeah,
I don't think they can hang with teams that's been efficient like that.
No.
So I'm taking Washington.
You Commanders.
Yeah, I got to just take it. I don't see you doing it until you get some consistency on offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just, even though Cleveland's 2 tackles are now listed as questionable, Conklin and Wills are questionable.
Yeah, they can't wait to get those guys. They need.
They got to obviously get them back. Strong, the running back, is also questionable. So is the what's his name? David Njoku is also questionable. Chubb's out, obviously. Hines, the other running back, is out.
Man, what? This season is the biggest match you've ever seen all around the league. It's just crazy.
Right. Everybody was saying that. I was listening to some talk show, and that's what somebody went on and said exactly that.
Yeah. That's why it's so uneven.
This is the craziest year.
It's a crazy season. We only, 5 weeks in?
Yeah. This is NFL week 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the week 5. Let's go over. We're coming up on halftime break, but the Jets at the Vikings, and the Vikings are laying 2 and a hook to the Jets on the road.
Well, until somebody stops that machine.
Yeah.
we got new teams. Vikings was pretty good last, but right now they are playing good, lights out, offense and defense. I'm taking them.
I'll take the Vikings too. I know the Jets can snap back and are.
Oh yeah, I know they could.
Devontae Adams is not a Jet yet, but I think it's going to happen soon.
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to end
He'll
up.
He'll be a Jet. My money is on the Jets. They'll make it happen. And because they're already writing him off. He's not playing with quote a hamstring, which they're not going to play him because they can't get him hurt because they're going to trade him.
Right. That's it.
So that's where we're at right now. So he's gone. The question is, when do the Jets get him? Because I think the Jets, now the Saints are in there, so it's going to be the Jets.
Right.
I think.
Yep.
That's timeout, halftime. We'll be right back after this timeout. 7:46. Short case,
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it. Green light, let's get it.
The Mahoning Valley Federals is the area's minor league football team. After only 2 years in existence and an appearance in the league playoff semifinal game, the Federals are looking to add Valley High School and college talent to help take the next step toward a league championship. For more information on how to become part of the Federals' journey, go to Facebook at the Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football Team or contact General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
And if you go by track record, I'm going with Cleveland ruining the guys. I even say they ruined Tim Couch. I do. I think
Saturday morning sports page is back.
A good NFL quarterback.
All right.
Timmy Couch. My guy, Pat.
All right. 330-707-4202. Numbers to get in. The Jets and the Vikings are playing in London, by the way, at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I forgot to say that. So they're not at the Vikings. They're in London. I don't know if that matters. I'll take the Vikings anyway and lay the 2.5.
Yeah. Rodgers has never won an international game. They talked about that. So it might be a time that he's going to break that.
Maybe he will come out. Maybe it'll throw Darnold off, but I just like the Vikings.
Yeah, they're efficient.
Maybe they're due to lose. Jets had a horrible game last week, 10-9 with the Broncos at home. Miserable. It was bad weather, but they played terrible.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams I'm convinced he will be a Jet sometime this week.
Well, you done heard of that cryptic message that he sent. He just sent with the bulging eyes and put Edgar Allan Poe on there. And where is he from? Baltimore. And they try to say that's where he's going. Do Devontae Adams know something that we don't?
Maybe he's going to
that would be something. He go to Ravens. That shocked me.
If he goes to the Ravens, man.
But that could happen. And that doesn't do anything to give them more weapons. I mean.
Oh, boy. Let's go to the Panthers at the Bears. I don't know what to make of this. This game is Bears lay 4 points to the Panthers. Bears really.
I'm taking the Bears.
The Bears, they won last week over the Rams 24-18.
Yep.
The Panthers came back to earth and lost to the Bengals 34-24.
Yeah. But they're showing that they can score.
They could score
Dalton.
with Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I think they got their guy. Man, I just don't have a lot of faith. This is a game, maybe the Panthers, I'm looking at injuries. Mm-hmm. Not to bore everybody. Panthers have two linebackers out. Jewell and Thompson are out. And the center is out. Rame is out with the concussion. Then that's the three that are out. Then they've just got a boatload of people on questionable.
Okay.
I don't know you said you wanted the Bears?
Yeah, I take the Bears on this one.
Yeah. I would be taking a risk with the Panthers. I just can't see the Bears losing. Although stranger things have happened. The Bears have to win this.
Yeah.
At home, you got to take care of business. And whether or not they cover the 4 points could be questionable because I could see a field goal. I could see the Bears kicking the field goal to win the game.
Right.
2. Panthers will hang around and make it close, but I just don't have a lot of faith in the Panthers. I know they had that one lucky game that they came back and they beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders soundly, but I just can't on the road in Chicago. Let's move on. I'll take Bears too. This is a good one. The Ravens at the Bengals. 2.5. It's the home dog, so the Bengals are getting 2.5 at home. Wow. And let's see, anybody out? Cornerback for the defensive corner out. Millett is out for the Ravens. Questionable is the running back, Rasheen. And Harty is also questionable, wide receiver. Guard is out. Voorhees is also questionable. Bengals have their injuries are doubtful is Rankins, the D tackle. Questionable is D tackle Miles Murphy. McKinley Jackson is also questionable. And Mike Hilton is also questionable. The corner is questionable with a knee. So I don't know. The Bengals getting 2.5 at home. They won last week. Finally, they beat the Panthers after being 0-3. And then obviously the Ravens look like the old Ravens Sunday night. And I don't know why we both picked Buffalo, but that didn't work well.
No.
Ravens just and well, then one thing on that game, and Alan said, and somebody was talking about it, when it was 28-10, and I think it was Pete Briscoe was talking about it on the show Two Pros, a Cup of Joe. Says, why would you do a trick play there? Like Buffalo ran that trick play and they fumbled it.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore got the ball and they scored and game was over. Like that play, and you hate to say one play dictates a game, but you do. Like that game, if they score and go 28-17, they look like they were moving the ball. They got their, they kind of got momentum back a little bit. Might have been a game. But when they fumbled that ball on that trick play and then Baltimore cashed in, it was over.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And I don't know why they did it either.
And I don't know why they did it either. But Baltimore was pretty much in control of that game from the get-go. So you've got the Ravens at the Bengals, 2 and a hook. The home dog, Bengals getting 2 and a hook. Boy, this to me is a coin flip because the Bengals need this. I look at this game as this way: the Bengals need it. They, if they win, can you see the Ravens 2-3? Because that's what would it be, or is it more apt the Bengals being 1-4, the Ravens being 3-2?
In other years, I would say it right now. I say, no, the Ravens are going to win. I don't think you can say it. This year has just been.
But this has been
an uneven year.
Yes.
So I can't pick it that way. It's a hard pick. It is. I think the Bengals, you said, getting 2.5, right?
Yeah, they get 2 and a hook at home.
Yeah, I actually feel like I might want to go that way.
All right. I'm taking the Ravens just because my eye test tells me that the Ravens have kind of, after being 0-2, the Ravens have figured it out. Yeah. And I know I'm putting too much into one game with Buffalo, but I know Bengals should win this game. They have to win it. And they probably need to win it more, but I just don't see the Ravens going 2-3. I could see the Bengals going 1-4 more than I could see right now because I think the Ravens are playing better.
Yeah.
But again, maybe the Bengals have turned the corner, but if they beat the Panthers, which I don't think is a very good team.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that's all you can go on. That's the team they beat so far.
And they obviously couldn't stop. See, and here's what I look at it is they had a hard time defend Jaden Daniels. They could not defend Washington. They couldn't get a stop against Jaden Daniels. I don't think they're going to be able to get the stop against Baltimore and Jackson. And Jackson's playing really good.
Yeah, and as long as they keep Henry involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think they got to get Zay Flowers in.
Yes.
One person that I'm really shocked so far this season, Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And then you had Isaiah Likely, that opening game. They haven't used him since like that.
No.
And I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I be using all these weapons to my advantage. So, it makes me wonder what they're doing, but it's, now that I think about it, the Bengals only did beat Carolina.
That's it.
I mean,
34-24.
Yeah. Oh man. And this game is where.
And I don't know. I like the way Lamar Jackson is playing, and I think the Ravens have turned the corner, but it's a road game in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's back against the wall.
Yeah.
So the Bengals have their back and they're home. But my eyes tell me that the Ravens are just playing better football right now.
Even the games they lost,
right?
They were there, and
yeah, like the Raider game they lost, they should have won that. Yep. They lost to the Chiefs by 5 inches, 3 inches, a foot. It's not like no one's had their way with no one has had their way with the Ravens.
No.
Nobody has taken. No, you can't say the Ravens got taken to the woodshed. No, every game that they've played, they lost a tough Raider. They got caught by the Raiders, but it was a close game and they lost. Then they snapped back.
Yeah, the last two
they won their last two, and they beat, and they just, the Bills could have been a close game, but I still think the turnover turned that game. And then granted, Buffalo was due. They were 3-0. They were down there. They were probably due to lose anyway. And the Ravens obviously weren't going to go 1-3. I should have said that last week, but I thought the Bills looked great against Jacksonville, and they did on Monday night. But then
I don't know.
Sunday night, not so
you almost didn't talk me into going Baltimore now.
Well,
I'm telling you, seriously.
I'll probably talk you into a loss, so you should do you should do the opposite.
I don't know.
Seinfeld, George did the opposite, and things worked out for him. So this could be the opposite.
No, I'm gonna go Ravens. I am.
All right. I talked to you, and I'm going to put an asterisk next to that.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the Miami Dolphins.
Oh,
man,
God.
Miserable team, bad, played horrible on Monday night. And that had one of the lowest rating Monday night games ever. That was an unwatchable game. Right. There aren't a lot of NFL games that are unwatchable. That one, unfortunately, was ugly. I didn't watch much of that. I flipped over to the Detroit Lion game, which was a great game Monday night. But Miami Dolphins are on the road in New England playing the Patriots, which we know is not a good team. The Patriots are actually getting a point. Miami is actually -1. So believe it or not, the Patriots are a home dog by 1 point. I don't know what you want to do with that, but it's an even game.
It's a hard one too.
And this one's a hard one to pick. I picked against Miami last week. I got that one right. You went with the Dolphins because you thought the Titans weren't any good, and I kind of agreed with you, but I just thought the Miami Dolphins was worse, and I was right for a change. However, this is a tough one because I don't know. The Patriots we know are not a good team, but I guess I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I'm going to take the points just because Miami's got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And they don't have a quarterback at all. They just don't have a quarterback, and the offensive line still isn't really good. And I'll just go with the Patriots. This is kind of who's worse. This is the crappy bowl. Who's worse bowl, but I'll take the Patriots.
Well, I'm gonna take Miami.
You're gonna take the Fins.
I'm gonna go on to Huntley being the guy that he was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
A couple other plays. He plays bad, then he plays good. He's up and down. And he didn't look good, but I mean he was rushed into a situation. He only had like 5-6 days.
Right. Yeah, he just got off the plane.
Right.
Right. He just got off. I don't know if I don't think he unpacked his bags.
He probably didn't.
I don't think he did. He might not even had a chance to get a cup of coffee. Because it was that bad. It was like, okay, here, come on, all right, hey, you're on, get on, all right, get in there.
I think with a week of practice, they'll be a little bit better. But he's not playing a slouch defense. Now I'm telling you, the Patriots do have a good defense.
Is very good.
Yeah, it's just can they score enough?
Right.
To do it.
That's been their problem is scoring.
Right, and that's why I'm gonna just take the Dolphins just on that.
Let's go to the other game, which is kind of another head scratcher, potentially another one that I don't know. The Colts are at the Jags. Jags are giving the Colts 3 points. The thing I like about the Colts, I watched the game last week. They beat the Steelers. Joe Flacco is a very good quarterback still.
Right.
And I think I like Flacco. I mean, I don't know what is going on with the Jags. They came back last week. They played the Texans tough, but lost another brutal game, 24-20. They're 0-4. Mm-hmm. Are they due for the win?
Yeah, I'm going with the Jags. I think they're due. They also have not lost, I think, in 5 years to the Colts at home.
Right.
So I'm Just go with history. I'll say they'll win this one. They getting the points, the Jags?
No, they give the points.
Well, how many?
I'm sorry, 3.
Oh boy, they giving
Wait
up 3.
a minute. Huh? I'm sorry, I misrepresented. Hopefully, I did not misrepresent it. But no, let's see. Yeah, that was. They were let me sure. I got to make sure that's right. The Jags are -3. Colts get -3. The Jags are laying 3 points. Home team, so they lay 3 points to the visiting Colts. The Colts are 2-2. They won last week over the Steelers, 27-24. Flacco had a great game. He played very good, as Flacco does. And all the Cleveland Brown fans are still complaining that they didn't sign him as the backup. Well, so be it. But Flacco is with the Colts. I think the Colts are better with Flacco right now. Richardson is hurt. I don't think he's playing. So I believe it'll be Joe Flacco playing for the Colts, and they're playing at the Jags.
Oh. Well,
although I'm looking at the injury report, I thought Richardson, I could look it up, but I thought Richardson was out for the year. No, he's questionable.
He's questionable. Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is oblique. He's questionable. My bad.
Yeah, I'll stay with the Jags, but no Jonathan Taylor. That's big because they need that for the running game. Yeah,
Jonathan
you need
Taylor's
him.
out.
You need him because that takes pressure off of that pass rush coming after Flacco. So I'll just go with the Jags this time.
Right. I'm almost going to do this. I'm taking the Colts if Flacco plays. If Richardson's playing, I think I'll go with the Jags.
Okay.
So I'm going to asterisk on that. But
I tell you,
think
if the
that
Jags
Flacco's
lose,
playing, they're a better team with Flacco right now. Richardson hasn't had a lot of starts. I think he really was out all last year.
Yeah.
Hurt, injury.
Now, I will say this, though. If you watch that game, and I watched it, they were doing great with Richardson in the lineup at quarterback. Right. I mean, he was zipping that ball right on target. He was doing everything. He's running, and then he got hurt. He got hurt on that hit right on the hip. And that's the first time he started to play with some consistency, and then he gets hurt. So,
and then he got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, they looked at I'm just concerned about Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts.
Well, if the Colts win,
I'll just stay.
I say I pick Doug Peterson, not to be on the hot seat, but he'll be a Monday morning casualty.
Yeah, he might be.
I hate to say that.
No,
but he might be.
A lot of people saying that.
Yeah, 0-5, I think he might be done.
Yeah, 0-5.
Yeah.
That owner's not a happy man.
Yeah.
He's probably calling the Carolina owner, David Tepper, and say, how do you fire the guy?
Yeah. He'd have been gone if it was Tepper. But
Tepper haven't gone.
Yeah.
He would, David Tepper. I just don't know if Canales is, I don't know if that poor guy, who's the head coach? Is it Canales for,
yeah. I think he gets a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Canales.
It's Canales.
Yeah, I think you get a little longer leash a little bit because it's first-time head coach.
Yeah, I hope so.
Doug Peterson was a Super Bowl winning coach.
Right. And that's right.
Things are looking bad. I think they lose. He's done. I hate to say it.
He's done.
Yep.
Let's go to the Bills at the Texans.
Oh, my, that should be a good one.
Should be a great game. This point spread is only a minus. Bills get -1. This is almost a pick 'em. This is almost a pick 'em game. So -1 makes it a pick 'em game. Yeah, Houston -1. Bills get 1 point on the road at Houston.
Wow.
1:00 on CBS.
That's a hard one there. But
I'm almost. This one has me too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do. I'll take the Bills to bounce back on the road.
Yep.
I like Josh Allen a little bit more, just slightly more than the Texans. But Stroud is playing great at home. They won last week, 24-20 over the Jags. I just think the Bills will bounce back and win and go up 4-1. Let's go to the Raiders at the Broncos. There's another one. I can't figure the Broncos out. They're 2-2. Not a pretty 2-2, and then both teams are coming off wins. Raiders beat the Browns 20-16, and Broncos beating the Jets 10-9 in an absolutely ugly game. And again, the Jets, if they make the field goal, they win 12-10. They miss it, and they lose, and they look bad.
Yeah.
But you got to forget it, obviously. You got to move on. So I can't figure out the Raiders. I can't figure out either one of these teams. I don't know because both these teams, the way they play, they're just inconsistent. They win and they lose. The Broncos started off 0-2, but they've won 2 games in a row.
Right.
And the Raiders at Denver, this is that it makes that inter-division rival thing going, and it makes it really, tough to figure out.
Yeah, no. Man. This is tough. Raiders get 3, right?
Yeah, Raiders are getting 3 on the road.
Wow. Oh, boy. I'll take the Raiders.
Dave.
I'm going to take them.
You're going to take the Raiders?
Yeah, that's going to be tough, though, in Denver.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't buy Denver's really a good team, but then I don't know. I'll go in this case, I'll just go the home team. This has push written all over it.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a 20-17 game. Broncos win by 3 and it ends up a push. Let's go to the Cardinals at the 49ers. This is actually a larger spread, -7. So the Cardinals are getting 7 points at 49ers. 49ers big win last week against the Patriots. The Cardinals just got absolutely boat raced by the Commanders 42-14 at home. Now they go on the road and they have the 49ers. The 2-2 49ers, the Cardinals are 1-3. And you get 7 points if you take the Cardinals.
I'm going to take
It's going to be
San
sunny
Fran.
and 69 degrees.
Yep, I'm going to take San Fran.
Yeah, me too. I can't go against the 49ers. Let's move on to the Packers are at the Rams. And actually, the Rams are getting 3 points. Home dog. They'll be all now. The only problem you're going to have in that, because they're playing at SoFi, they'll all be Packer fans. Because the people, see, the NFL is not figured out. People in Los Angeles, they don't care about football. They didn't care the Rams. The NFL made the Rams move there. The LA does not care about their football. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And they care slightly more about the Rams than they do the Chargers, which we know belong in San Diego. But right. Anyway,
I'm going to take the Pack though.
Pack and you lay 3 on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Pack.
Yeah, I don't know. I might take the Rams and the points at home.
Okay, 3 points, right?
Yeah, I'll get 3 points, and you get the Rams and 3. It's a home dog getting 3. Let's move on to the Giants at the Seahawks, -7. So the Seahawks lay 7 points. Giants are getting 7 points. That's the 4:25 game on CBS. So
and Daniel Jones is injured, isn't he?
Let's look. Yeah, pull up the injury report for that game. Oh man, the Giants. They never do good out there either. They never do. Let's see what they said. Malik Neighbors is out though. Oh man. No, they don't. Daniel Jones is not listed as being injured.
Okay.
But here's the giant problem. Malik Neighbors is out with a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Singletary, the running back, is doubtful with a groin. Then they have three players on the defense who are questionable. Linebacker Adams, Dory Jackson and Andrew Phillips are questionable with calf injuries.
Not looking good. I'm going to take Seattle.
Yeah, but Seahawks have Byron Murphy with a hamstring out. Cameron Young, D tackle, out with the knee. Questionable is Mafe with the knee. He's linebacker. And then Julian Love, safety, is thigh questionable. Yeah, I got to go Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that Neighbors is out. Daniel Jones is really going to be running for his life. They're going to struggle. Let's go big Sunday night game. Cowboys at the Steelers. And they get 2 and a hook.
Who get 2 and a hook?
The Cowboys are getting 2 and a hook on the road. The Steelers laying the 2 and a hook. Steelers lost a tough game. Although I watched that game, and if you're a Steeler fan, the more you see Fields play, the more you got to like it. He's really playing. He's starting to play pretty good. I watched that game they lost to the Colts, but Justin Fields played good. He's getting better every week.
Yeah, he's
improving.
Can they control the?
That's the question.
I'm going to take
Sunday nighter.
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
You're going to take the boys.
Yeah,
and get the 2 and a hook.
Yeah,
I'll take the Steelers and lay the hook and the 2 and a hook. And then the Monday nighter is the Saints are at the Chiefs. 5 and a hook. The Saints get 5 and a hook on the road.
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints.
You're going to take the Saints?
Yeah, I'm going to try something a little different. I mean, it's some week they have to start playing their ball, even though they've been winning Kansas City. But if they continue to play like they have, inconsistent, and defense of the Saints can do some things sometime, I'm going to just lean towards them. You said it's how much is it?
5 and a hook.
5 and a hook.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I'm gonna try it.
They get basically make sure that is because I did these. I put these point spreads down this morning because they changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5 and a hook, -5 and a hook. I don't know. I'll take the Chiefs until they lose. This could be the week.
Yep, could be.
That's the third quarter is in the book. Fourth quarter, come back. We've got a lot to talk. Jane Daniels' mother got in trouble with the NCAA game. We're going to talk about that and a few other things. College football. We'll get to the college football after the fourth quarter. Maybe we'll hear from Irish Mike. Saturday morning sports page.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club Fitting Center, and an Odyssey Fitting Studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Accidents happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192.
If you want to stay on top of your health, one simple thing to do
is take the pledge to go and get screened for the cancers that might affect you.
So stand up to cancer and take a pledge and
GetScreenedNow.org. It only takes a minute to take care of yourself, and nothing rhymes with poor.
Talk to your doctor about your health and screenings that are right for you.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you, 330-707-4202. Get in, talk sports. We are in the fourth quarter of the show. We go to 11 o'clock here on Western Reserve Radio. I did want to get this out. Dave Clark, we were talking about the NCAA and all their, shenanigans. Here's there was that report about, Antonio Pierce is in trouble, right?
Right.
Well, in the 67-page report, there are several mentions of former booster Regina Jackson, who happens to be the mother of the former ASU and current Washington Commanders quarterback, Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
They've mentioned her. She assisted with setting up impermissible campus visits and other violations.
So they say they want to indict her too?
Yeah, what are they going to do to Regina Jackson?
It's terrible. Sad.
So they got her, and she set up whatever that means. Impermissible campus and other violations. What other was she involved in giving them food? I bet it was. I bet you 5-1. This lady gave the recruits food because they don't like that.
No,
they don't like when you recruits get food. Can't feed, they got to
see NCAA going after Jaden Daniels' mom.
Yeah, now they're going after Regina Jackson, Jaden Daniels' mother, for
NCAA
setting up. She's involved with impermissible campus visits and other violations.
Oh man, that's insane. That's insane. But that's NCAA. That's what they do.
Then again, they know absolutely no limit. And they will do whatever they need to do, go after whoever they want to go after. And that's what they're going to do. But it gives us all great ammunition to talk about.
Right. Yep. Well, they'll continue that. So we'll see what happens.
So let's see what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we were talking, we got the NCAA, we got football. College football this weekend, really some great games to get to. I was trying. Did you watch any of those games last night? I know Houston had a big win against Texas Christian.
Right.
And I was pretty impressed with that. I was trying to figure out, though, who won last night. I know that Syracuse and UNLV, I couldn't stay up, so I went to bed at halftime, and it was, I believe, 21-17 UNLV.
Okay.
UNLV's, they were playing in Allegiant.
Right.
And it was actually a pretty good game. The quarterback for Syracuse, who played for Ohio State,
Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord, thank you. I can never, for some bizarre reason, I can never remember his name, but he looked very good in the first, he looked really good in the first half.
As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa.
Yep.
Anyway, let's see. I was looking at, let's see, where is that score from last night? Okay. Syracuse won last night in overtime.
Okay.
44-41. They beat UNLV. They were ranked 25. And I thought that I had a feeling, I knew that was going to be a good game. You know, when you watch football games,
yeah,
you get a real good idea. To kind of give you an idea, Kyle McCord completed 40 passes on 63 attempts. for 355 yards. He threw a touchdown and an interception. 3 touchdowns and an interception. And Malik Williams for UNLV, he was 21 out of 25 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception.
Yeah.
Now, that was a very entertaining game to watch.
Yeah.
I saw the first half. There were a lot of up and down, a lot of good play going on. And again, I couldn't make the second half, but I knew it was good. I'm not surprised that it was this close a game. Syracuse has been playing very good.
Yes, they have.
New head coach, Kyle McCord, the new quarterback, and they've been actually surprising a lot of folks out there, because I don't think a lot of people thought that they were going to be. Fran Brown is their new coach.
Right.
He was a defensive back coach at University of Georgia and became the 31st head coach for Syracuse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he did really good. So that was that game last night. I believe that puts Syracuse at 4-1 for the year. And that surprises a lot of people. They fired their old coach or didn't renew a contract. I'm not sure. I think it was he had a year left, and obviously they parted ways. But Fran Brown came in and has done I think he's done a really good job with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Big overtime victory last night, 44-41. So good. That's good for the ACC, because ACC needs good teams.
Right.
And they need some teams to kind of like step up, because they're kind of getting, they're considered of the conferences, they're usually the 4th. Although now the Pac-12 has been recruiting teams, and I like how the Pac-12 is rating other conferences out there.
Yes,
and now there's a lot of different teams going to be in the Pac-12.
Right.
It's almost, I think it's been a combination of Mountain West and Big West teams that they've been like, and I guess Gonzaga now will join the Pac-12, I think, in another year.
Yeah. I think, yep.
Yeah, I think they got another year, and then they're going to join the conference, which I think is good. I know the Pac-12 kind of needs teams, and I like the Pac-12. It's too bad it kind of broke up, but that's the way college football's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and do our college picks. The noon game today is Missouri at Texas A&M. And Texas A&M is laying 2 points to Missouri. Missouri beat Vandy last week, 34-27. And A&M beat Arkansas 21-17.
Okay, it's a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Missouri.
Yeah, me too. I like Missouri on the road. I think they're going to be. They've been an interesting team in the SEC this year.
Hey, I think Irish Mike just called in too.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah. For the record, good. You were 6-2-1, and I was 4-4-1 last week. So you did really good in college.
Okay.
All right, good. Let's get good. But let's bring Irish Mike in. Great.
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Dave. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, Irish Mike, what's going on?
Doing well. Hey, Dave, I felt good for Pat Lucia last Saturday night watching the Alabama-Georgia game, because one of the things he's been perturbed about college football the last 25 years is somehow that loser of that game would be like disqualified from the final game or the Final Four, and he always thought that was bogus. Now, it was a very entertaining game with the idea that the loser still has a great chance of making the playoffs moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good thing for college football, right?
Yes, that was an excellent game, and both of them deserve to be in the playoffs. As from right now, you definitely got to put both of them in.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it gives us good matchups. That's what we've been complaining about all year.
Yes.
Years.
Yeah.
Is expanding the playoffs. We will get better matchups during the college season, so we will get to watch games like that during the year. And Georgia won't have to worry about being eliminated, although their schedule is a little bit of a grind when you break it down. But at least I think we're going to go ahead and we can assume or hope Georgia will be in the final 12.
If you have a tough schedule, like a Georgia, and you have 2 losses, you're okay. Now, once you take on that third loss, it becomes very tricky, very quick. You know what I mean? Like, depending on other people's resumes and what they got going on. Because allegedly, we've been told, guys, for 20-some years now, when these committees get together, they care more about your wins and who you beat than your losses.
Right.
Right.
That's what we've been told, right? That's what we've been told.
Mm-hmm.
Your wins matter a lot more than your losses.
Well, Irish Mike, and I know this has been a big question this week. I've heard a little bit about the what do they do? Because if you break down Georgia's schedule, which is just an absolute, it's the SEC, but they have, like they're going to have Texas the 19th. Next week they got Mississippi State. This week is Auburn. Right. Then they actually have, Florida. Then they get Ole Miss and Tennessee and then Georgia Tech and UMass. But what happens if Georgia has 3 losses and your Notre Dame Fighting Irish only has the 1 loss and it's to the obviously Northern Illinois the Huskies? What does the committee do with a 3-loss Bulldog?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Yeah, that's obviously, and I'm not trying to make you guys laugh. I promise you I'm not. But, both Army and Navy right now are undefeated. They're
yes, they are.
Right? This is the first time they've been combined 8-0 since 1945, since the end of World War II. And if you watch them play, don't laugh, guys. They're pretty good.
They are. Yes, they are. I didn't see them.
Yes, and, Notre Dame picked up the Army game 6 months ago because they were supposed to play the Miami of Florida Hurricanes this year, but Miami backed out the contract a year ago. The Hurricanes said they had some contractual issues, and they had to get rid of the game, and they picked they were supposed to play Notre Dame in South Bend, in late October. And unfortunately, the Hurricanes couldn't do it, so they had to cancel the game. So Notre Dame just picked up Army 7 months ago, back in February or March. So, and who knew at this time Army is going to be 4-0? But when you watch those teams play, Dave, and you said they're both pretty efficient teams right now. They both got good quarterbacks, and they both have those drives where they take 8 minutes off the clock on everybody, right?
Yep.
So there's Notre Dame fans have been berating the schedule since last spring. Oh, you don't play anybody. When you break down the schedule, A&M's had a pretty good year so far. Obviously, Louisville's been undefeated. You're looking at USC now. They're better than we thought they were going to be. USC's playing defense this year, right, guys? They're getting stops.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're actually, yep.
Is it one of the top 5 or 6 schedules in the country? No, but it's not as bad as people are making out to be all spring and summer. I was never the ones that bought guys when beat A&M. Oh, Notre Dame's automatically in the playoffs. After the first game, they're in there, and the people are saying. And I never bought after a terrible home loss to Northern Illinois, which was terrible beyond belief, that they're automatically disqualified. We have so much football to play. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
You're right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Pat. I mean, 10 years ago when Ohio State won the national championship in 2014, their second game of the year, they lost to Virginia Tech team who finished the season 6-6 and lost their bowl game and finished 6-7 that year. And remember, all year people said they're never going to make the final 2. That was a terrible loss at home to Virginia Tech. Remember, people said that for weeks and weeks. Because after the Ohio State game, Virginia Tech lost 3 games in a row, right? And people said, "Oh my God, you lost to them," right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, that
happened. If you remember 10 years ago, that exactly happened with Virginia Tech. Now, I'm not putting Virginia Tech on the same plane in Northern Illinois, but you understand a loss is a loss.
You're right.
So I think we want to look more at the wins. At least that's what the committee's told us. So I agree with you. If Georgia has 3 losses, there are going to be people like Paul Feinbaum and say, put Georgia in. They're still, look who Notre Dame lost to back in September. Yeah, they're going to say that on ESPN. No doubt about it, they're going to say that.
Yeah, and they will. And that's what everybody always says, because obviously ESPN is tied with the SEC. So, and that's where the people argue that they're not impartial because of the interest that they have with their relationship with the SEC. They want more SEC teams in anyway. So we'll wait and see how it all. You're right, though. You bring up an excellent point. Is you've got so much football left, and we really just don't know where these teams. And the thing with the schedule is tricky because people write off, Army and Navy. Yeah, well, now Army and Navy are undefeated. Maybe they go undefeated. Maybe they stay undefeated and Army plays Navy and they both might be undefeated. Then all of a sudden or Notre Dame will beat them and give them their only losses. Yeah. And now they look like really big wins, which people would be dismissive. Now all of a sudden, that's like, hey, you got to give them a lot of credit. They beat Army and they beat Navy, and that may be their only losses.
Yeah.
The last several years when Notre Dame's had the luxury of playing Navy, they've always had a bye week or the first game of the year playing Navy. Now, this year's not going to be the case. They play Navy in a couple weeks, so they're going to have 1 week to get ready for that. And I know their bye week, Notre Dame does not play today, and I know all week they practice against it this week a little bit, just to kind of get a feel of, they use practice time smartly to say, here's what we're going to run against Navy when we play them October 26th. So you get an idea of what it's like because it's such an unconventional offense. No one ever sees it anymore. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. They drive everybody crazy. Hey, let's get ahead and get to the picks real quick. We started Irish Mike. We got Missouri at Texas A&M and -2. Missouri gets 2 points on the road.
I'll go with Texas A&M at home. Down Kyle Field. Tough place to play for sure.
Let's move to the next one real quick. SMU at Louisville, and SMU's getting 7 points. SMU destroyed Florida State 42-16 last week, and Louisville lost to your Notre Dame Fighting Irish 31-24. Louisville's laying a touchdown to SMU. Louisville at home.
I don't think there's any. They're one of the top 3 programs in the country using the NIL transfer portal. December, January, Louisville Cardinals, we had 26 guys in the portal.
Right.
He brought some receivers in, Dave Clark. Those cats can play. I watched them last week. Trust me, they got some wide receivers at Louisville, so I'm taking Louisville at home.
Oof. You said how many points is it?
7 points. A&M's SMU gets 7 points on the road.
Wow.
Noon game at ESPN tonight. Today.
Yeah, and SMU can score, but I don't know since they got to go to Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Louisville too.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Louisville at home too. Let's move on to Pitt at North Carolina. North Carolina's getting 2.5 points. Pitt's undefeated; they're 4-0, and North Carolina's 3-2. But they got blown out by James Madison 70-50, and they lost to Duke last week 21-20, and then obviously Pitt was on bye last week, but the week before they beat YSU 73-17.
Oh.
I don't know what you draw from any of these games.
My goodness, Pitt. Why you do that to YSU?
Yeah, that's too bad.
Oh, man. I actually think North Carolina in a way have a chance to upset them. But
yes.
I don't know why.
2 and a hook. They get 2 and a home dog getting 2 and a hook.
When you give up 70.
I'll take the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah. They're at home,
5-0.
Pitt at home.
Yeah. Pitt is at Carolina, though.
Oh, they're at Carolina. Oh.
Yeah, it's at Pitt at Carolina. Carolina's getting 2 and a hook at home versus Pitt.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll lay the 2 and a hook and take Pitt.
I'm going to go on a limb.
Okay.
And I'm going to take North Carolina.
NS. How about you, Irish Mike?
I'll take Pitt. Pat. I'll take Pitt.
Okay. Let's move on to Old Miss at South Carolina.
That's another
one. And South Carolina, home dog, getting 9 points.
Yeah, that's...
Old Miss lost last week to Kentucky, 2017. And South Carolina was on bye last week, but week before they beat Akron 50-7.
And 3 weeks ago, they played at home against LSU in a game they should have won. I think there was a couple of officiating calls that went against them at home. I'll take South Carolina plus 9 at home.
Yeah, 9. I am too.
Yeah, I like South Carolina at home too. Okay, let's move on to Rutgers at Nebraska. The 4-0 Scarlet Knights out of Rutgers, Irish Mike. They are now a powerhouse. They beat Washington 21-18. Nebraska beat Purdue last week, 28-10. And Rutgers is getting 7 points on the road. Matt Rule's Nebraska Cornhuskers are back, 4-1. And the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers are looking to go 5-0, and they're getting 7 points.
I'm going to take the Scarlet Knights.
You like the Scarlet Knights, Dave Clark?
Yeah, I'm gonna take. They're underdogs, so I just want to take them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take Nebraska at home, Pat. Give me Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go Nebraska. Although I am tempted to take the Scarlet Knights out of
why.
Rutgers.
I'm just going to do it. I'm going on.
That's good. Yeah, next one up is West Virginia. Mountaineers are at OK State. Boy, and OK State's been kind of having a rough go. They got smoked last week by K-State, 42-20, and then West Virginia was on bye, but they beat Kansas the week before, 32-28. And 6.5. West Virginia's getting 6.5.
You said West Virginia's?
Yeah, West Virginia gets 6.5 on the road versus OK State. That's at 4:00 on ESPN2. And if you're going to watch Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers and Nebraska Cornhuskers, you can watch that at 4:00 on FS1. That's if you're not watching the Mets playing baseball.
And you said it's 6 points?
Yeah, 6.5. 6 and a hook. OK State lays 6 and a hook to West Virginia. That's the.
I'm gonna go with the Mountaineers.
You go in West Virginia. Irish Mike.
I think it's gonna be a high scoring game.
I'll go with. I'm gonna take a flyer and just take Oklahoma State at home to cover.
Yeah, me too. I'll take OK State on the cover too. Next one up is the Wolverines of Michigan playing at Washington, 7:30 NBC tonight. And that's not if you're not watching baseball. The Yankees are on tonight at 6:30, and then the Dodgers are on after
Go
that.
Guardians, 1:00. Hey,
And
that's
the Guardians
a rematch of the
are on
national
1
championship
o'clock,
game, guys,
so
right? That's a rematch.
A lot going on. Let's go to Washington is laying 2 points to the Wolverines, who won last week. They didn't cover, but they won 27-24, and then guess Washington lost to our Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, 21-8. I've adopted Rutgers now as our team. The Scarlet Knights of Rutgers beat Washington 21-18, and that was Friday night.
Yeah.
2 points. Michigan's getting 2 points at Washington.
I'll take Washington, Pat. I'll take the Huskies at home. This is Michigan's first road game, I believe, right? It's October 5th.
Yeah, I think you are right. Yes.
Yeah. That could be a problem.
That could be a big problem.
And their passing game's a problem.
Yeah, they can't throw the ball. It's 3 yards.
Washington
Bo Schembechler's got. That's a Bo Schembechler team. Run.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about you, Dave Clark?
You said how much is Washington getting? Or
Washington lays. Michigan gets 2 points.
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna go.
I don't know.
I know this is hard.
I'll take Michigan.
Yeah, I am too. I'm just gonna go with them.
I don't know why, but I will. They can't throw the ball, though.
I know. That's the concern.
They're so bad, though. Oh, my gosh. I think Rick Leach is their quarterback.
They make Army Navy look like they got great quarterbacks throwing the ball, right?
Rick Leach couldn't throw, but he ran that option play, man. Good option and a good baseball player.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'm going to go with Michigan because Rick Leach played baseball for the Detroit Tigers, and they're in the playoffs. How's that?
Go Guardians. Hey,
Go Guardians.
Is that the
That's
North?
right.
Do we have any more games to pick, Pat?
Yeah, 2 more. Tennessee and
go ahead.
Arkansas, big one tonight, 7:30. It's a little heavy. Arkansas is getting 13.5 at home. Tennessee bye last week, but beat Oklahoma week before. Arkansas is getting 13 and a hook at home. Big home dog. They lost last week to Texas A&M 21-17.
I'll take Arkansas at home in the points.
Me too.
Yeah, I was going to, you know what? I'm taking Tennessee. I think they're just better. I'll finish it up with this. Texas Tech at Arizona. That's the late game. It's 11 o'clock tonight on Fox. We'll all stay up for it. Texas Tech at Arizona. They get 6 and a hook. Arizona laying 6 and a hook. They beat Utah last week, 23-10. And Texas Tech won last week also. They beat Cincinnati 44-41.
You know what? How many points is Texas Tech
6 and a hook.
I got to take them because they can score.
Yeah, they can score.
Can Arizona stop them from scoring? I think Arizona might win, but can they stop them from scoring?
I'm convinced. I'll take Texas Tech.
Yep, that's what I'm taking.
That's where Mahomes went, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll take it because Mahomes went there. How about you, Irish?
I'll take Arizona. I'll take the Wildcats at home. I'll take Arizona.
All right.
Great. That's our picks. That's great.
Hey, I know you guys got a couple minutes. Let me get your thoughts on this. You know, as we change the dynamic in college football, now we have the 12-team playoff with the portal, with all this other stuff. Pat, I shot you the text message earlier this week. Now they want the SEC and Big Ten to play 9 conference games each, and then play crossover games against one another as well. I mean, so we have Georgia playing Ohio State, Alabama playing Michigan, those type of games that we all want to see. So the question I have for you: when do they step in now? And I think they have to do this. Like, for example. There's teams in college football this year out of 12 regular season games, they're playing 8 home games and only 4 road games, where other schools are playing 6 home games and 6 road games. Right. When do they step in like the NFL and say, hey, we got to find parity here as far as how many home games you play and how many road games you play?
It's never going to happen. They care about only money. They're not stepping in. There's nobody to step in. They care about only money. They could play 10 home games. They care about TV ratings and money, and that's it. Follow the dollar. They have no control over college football or anything.
Right.
NCAA wants to go after Regina Jackson. What do I have to say? That's where they think is important. Jaden Daniels' mother. Please, give me a break, NCAA. That's our show. Thank you, Dave Clark. Thank you, Irish Mike, for calling.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Dave. Have a great weekend. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
You guys take care. Enjoy.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching VSiN's College Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, where you get your winners.
We are on to hour 2 of the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show. Less than 15 minutes from now, Matt Humans, college football handicapper extraordinaire. He will join the program, give us his thoughts of Week 6. Chris Doring, SEC Network analyst, coming up bottom of the hour. We will also hear from our colleague here at VSiN, who will be on the sidelines today at Kyle Field, Stormy Bonatoni. Her thoughts on the game she will be covering today. Texas A&M and Missouri, the only matchup between top 25 teams. We've got letdown spots to get to. We'll take a visit to the Murray Delicatessen, some sandwich spots. But first and foremost, let's take a look at the latest line moves here as we are an hour away from kickoffs across the country. And I know you were wondering, hey, Tim, what's the latest on the UConn spread? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is now out to 20. UConn is a 20-point favorite against Temple. This has moved 6 points from the open. It was 16.5 earlier this week. Money flooding in on the Huskies against those dreadful Owls. Not as dreadful as Kennesaw State, but those dreadful Owls of Temple. Navy and Air Force is the first leg of the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. However, Army getting money in the market this morning. Army, undefeated Black Knights, they are now a 14-point favorite over Tulsa. Line move in that one. Clemson taking on Florida State, a game that many of us thought, well, this is probably going to be a good one here to start up the season, in early October. Not the case. Clemson now out to a 17-point favorite. Not saying that is a foregone conclusion as Brock Glenn, not DJ Uiagalelei, gets the start there in Tallahassee. I was seriously tempted of looking at Florida State in this game. Yeah, I'm going to have to hold off on that one. And the last line move we've noticed here this morning as Tulane continues to get money against UAB. They're now out to an 18.5-point favorite. They opened the week under a 2-touchdown favorite. And real quickly, I did just notice movement to double digits. Ole Miss at South Carolina. Ole Miss, the Rebels, now a 10-point favorite against South Carolina. So a little bit of movement coming in as that game gets back to double digits. All right, coming up in less than 15 minutes, Matt Humans, Chris Doring later on this hour. But the big game of the day, the only top 25 showdown, Texas A&M versus Missouri. Missouri, number 9 in the country. Texas A&M, number 25. We'll hear from Stormy live from Kyle Field later on in this hour. But, a lot of people believe that Kyle Field, EA Sports believe Kyle Field, was the most daunting environment to go to. Well, Notre Dame walked in there week 1 as a dog and won that game outright. Texas A&M has now lost 6 straight games against ranked opponents. They got a top 10 team coming in here in Missouri. Missouri's quarterback, a gentleman by the name of Brady Cook. And Brady Cook, he may not have been saying it, but he kind of said it. Not that intimidated by the atmosphere down in College Station.
In my opinion, the noise at practice is actually louder. They put these big speakers, pretty much 2 feet right behind me. And you can't hear anything. It's loud. In stadiums, it's loud, but it's like a surrounding, kind of more distant loud. So it's a little different. I think it's, just as loud or louder or tougher to communicate. That's great work. We've been doing that every single rep this week. So hopefully the offense and me and Tollison and the rest of the guys are feeling good going into the first series.
Is he calling them out? Or is he giving kudos to his coaching staff, or a little bit of both? I don't know. Coaches can find anything to get their team motivated by. I think it's going to be really loud. And oh, by the way, Missouri, I know your road trip next week to McGurk Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts, one of the more bizarre games of the entire college football season. That's going to be lively, but I bet Texas A&M. That was the first bet I bet this week, minus 120 on the money line. I like Texas A&M here in this spot. Marcel Reed, how about this unique story if you hadn't heard it? Marcel Reed, who is likely going to be the starting quarterback today for Texas A&M, even though Connor Wegman is going to dress. Dual threat athlete. His sister is the assistant director of on-campus recruiting for Missouri. And she was told, you can't come to practice this week. Gotta love college football. You can't make this stuff up. So Texas A&M, Missouri, the only game between top 25 teams this week. Definitely not a letdown spot for either one of these teams. Missouri coming off of a bye week. Texas A&M beat Arkansas in a close game, but this is a big one at home. Let's get to some possible letdown spots. We'll run through these for today. So what happened last week? Does it affect these teams heading into this week? I noted 5. So let's run through them real quickly. Virginia Tech, they're on the road at Stanford. They had their guts ripped out when they believed they had beaten Miami last week, and they went to replay. They said, no, it is overturned. My question about Virginia Tech, who is now 2-3, certainly off to a disappointing start to the season. My question is, how are they going to get off the mat in a very quiet environment there in Palo Alto? Kickoff 12:30 local. I bet Stanford first half in full game, split my unit, took 4.5, took 8. Stanford will be, I believe, on their third string quarterback, Justin Lamson, who is an athletic guy. We saw him against Clemson last week. Miami, I don't know if this is a letdown spot. College game day is there. It's a weird travel situation. And I know a lot of people have taken the candy with Cal, and I understand it. We've gone through the history of Justin Wilcox versus Mario Cristobal, Cal versus Oregon. Justin Wilcox, 3-1 ATS against Mario Cristobal. 3 straight covers, as you see on that graphic for those of you watching with us. I kind of wish that dominated Virginia Tech, because then maybe we're getting 13-14. Maybe it's a little bit more of a sleepy spot. I wonder if their wake-up call came last week. Alabama. This is the letdown spot of the weekend. But can you trust Vanderbilt? That is a question that we have posed many times as bettors. 85% of the action, of the ticket count, I should say, at stations, courtesy of Chuck Esposito in the first hour of the program, on Alabama. I get it. I'm going to end up on Vanderbilt out of principle. You got to take the Doors here. It's not a home field environment. There'll probably be more Alabama fans there. But you just beat Georgia in a heavyweight battle. Dominated the first half, lost the lead, came back, got the win. Jalen Milroe now the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Diego Pavia, he's my Heisman winner. My man just covers, whether it was New Mexico State, whether it's now at Vanderbilt, double-digit dog week 1 against Virginia Tech, outright winner. 3-touchdown dog in Columbia against Missouri, overtime. Do it for me one more time, Diego. Get us home. North of 3 touchdowns. I wanted 24. I don't think we're going to get that. All right, another one that's pretty interesting to me, Duke. All right, full disclosure, on the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast over the summer, one of my best bets in the futures market was Duke under 2.5 ACC wins. They got their first ACC win last week. It was not fun. Manny Diaz and company down 20-0 at halftime, came back to beat UNC 21-20. They got to paint the victory bell. I think Duke's a bunch of frauds for a football standpoint. I'm not talking about the basketball team. Cooper Flagg, you the man. I think this is a weird spot. Georgia Tech off a bye, 5-0 Duke, yet they're catching 9.5. Well, let's look at that 5 wins. Northwestern, very fortunate to win in overtime. Slip past UConn, maybe a wagon. Public's betting them today. Middle Tennessee and Elon. And then beat UNC last week. I like Georgia Tech. I laid it with Georgia Tech, but we'll get to how I ultimately bet this for official best bet. Lastly, Arizona, Texas Tech, late night game. Arizona coming off of a big win last week against Utah up in Salt Lake City. I really want to get on Texas Tech here, but I don't know if I can get there just yet. TBD on that one. That's a late night game, 11 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Arizona hosting Texas Tech. All right, who's hungry? I'm always hungry. Let's head to the deli for some sandwich spots. I went to the gym this morning. I hit the 25-pound dumbbells a couple times to get those guns ready to go. Look at all that fresh bread back there. Looks good. Sandwich spots this week. I think the number one sandwich spot is USC at the Gophers of Minnesota. USC 2 weeks ago went to Ann Arbor. Should have won, didn't. Lost 27-24. Make a tackle in the hole. They did not. They come back home. They're down 21-10 to Wisconsin. They come all the way back. They win. They cover the 16-point spread. Now you're back at Minnesota. Next week you play Penn State. I think this is a real tricky spot for USC. Give me the candy with the Gophers. Plus 8.5, plus 9, whatever's out there. Hell, if we can get to 10, I don't think we will. I will take Minnesota. Night game there in the Twin Cities. Minnesota, by the way, screwed last week by the Big Ten refereeing crew on that onside kick. They should have had an opportunity to go win the game. Ohio State, Iowa, pros versus Joes. Ohio State next week gets Oregon. And then lastly, I can't do it. I know I probably should look to grab the points with UCLA. I can't do it. That team is bad. Bad. Ethan Garber's game time decision there for UCLA. Penn State, Jimmy Franklin knows the number. So I'm going to stay away from that one. But the sandwich spot du jour today at the Murray Delicatessen. Give me Minnesota catching the points against USC. Trojans maybe. Oh, what's that? Showdown with Penn State next week? Be ready. Those Gophers, they like to row the boat. Sky U-Ma. Give me Minnesota plus the points. Matt Humans, is that game on his card? We run through his favorite bets of Week 6 next right here on the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Experience the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Live it up with the world's largest sports book, Circa Sports. Get loose and get loud with all sports, all seasons at Stadium Swim. Take in the $1 million views at our rooftop lounge, Legacy Club. Go big and go all night with our luxurious rooms and suites. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com. Elevate your swim game at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, featuring the best pool in history, Stadium Swim. 3 levels, 6 pools, and a 143-foot diagonal screen. It's 365 days of fun in the sun, with all sports, all seasons. Stadium Swim, located at Circa Resort and Casino. Book today at circalasvegas.com.
NFL Sunday Ticket subscribers, you can watch the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate Show every Sunday on YouTube as part of your Sunday Ticket subscription. Never watched VSiN? Well, this is your chance to check us out each week as we get you ready for every NFL game. It's the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate Show with me, Stormy Bonantoni, former NFL MVP Rich Gannon, and NFL General Manager Michael Lombardi. Every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 Eastern on YouTube and VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken. And when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
VSiN.com and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching VSiN's College Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, where you get your winners.
45 minutes away from kickoff of the noon slate, the biggest game of the day, at least per the rankings, would be Missouri and Texas A&M. We do have a rematch of last year's national championship, Washington hosting Michigan later on this evening. I'm Tim Murray here in Las Vegas, getting you ready each and every Saturday with the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show. Chris Doering, former Florida wide receiver, SEC Network analyst, coming up in less than 15 minutes. Hear from Stormy Bonatoni, live from Kyle Field down at Texas A&M in 30 minutes. But right now, let's head to the Progressive Guest Line. Welcome in my partner in crime on both VSiN Primetime, which you can hear 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time weekdays, as well as the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast. It is Matt Youmans. Matt, you had a nice little victory last night as Jonathan Smith kicks a late field goal. I know you took the 24, so instead of a push, you got the win. So hopefully it's a good omen for the day ahead. And I want to start out in the Pacific Northwest with Washington taking on Michigan. This is a common play that you and I have, and there seems to be a little bit of resistance out there. And while we were recording the podcast, there was a tout service who gave out Michigan. Walk us through Washington hosting Michigan this evening, 7:30 Eastern on NBC, and what side do you like here?
I like the Washington side, and I've had this game circled for a few weeks. You know, once you start to see Michigan's impotent passing attack, and you're looking at this team playing 5 straight home games, okay, who are the Wolverines going to play when they go on the road? And Washington is their first road trip, and Seattle happens to be a pretty strong home field, by the way, for the Huskies. But Alex Orji, since he got promoted to starting quarterback, threw for 32 yards against USC and 86 yards against Minnesota. The passing game is so bad, it's comical. And when you have such a one-dimensional offense, I think Washington should have a pretty good idea of what's coming and be able to stop it. Now, again, this is a Washington team that outgained Rutgers by 222 yards on the road a week ago. I just think the advantage of quarterback is big for the Huskies. Will Rogers, veteran, 75% completions, 10 touchdowns, no picks. Alex Orji can't throw the ball. A lot of things are pointing here to the Huskies, and I know there's a sharp group out of Canada that released to play on Michigan. But again, Tim, this is the first road game for the Wolverines. I think this number 10 ranking is based mostly on reputation and what the Michigan team did a year ago. And again, 5 straight home games: Fresno, Arkansas State, Texas, USC, and Minnesota. 3 of those are pretty weak teams that the Wolverines beat. I've got to go with Washington here. I can't wait to see what the Huskies do to screw this up, because I really think Washington's the right side. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way. I laid money line with Washington earlier this week, and you can get a better number now at DraftKings. You can go as low as minus 118 on the money line on Washington. I'm with you. Common play you and I have is Washington. 4 entries last night in the Circa Friday Football Invitational used Washington, including Steve Fezzik, Chris Massero, and Brett McMurphy. So 4 entries in your contest, which of course you can get all of those bets in your email as a VSiN Pro subscriber. All right, Matt, let's stay out west. College game day is out in Berkeley today. First time ever, Cal is hosting Miami, and we've talked about it a bunch here on this show. Justin Wilcox versus Mario Cristobal, that head-to-head showdown when Wilcox was at Oregon. You are tempted to take Cal here. I know on the podcast, I don't think you had bet it just yet, and the market is coming in a little bit. There still are 10s, but the hooks have been scooped up, and there are even some 9.5 starting to show out there in the market. So Miami at Cal, late night, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern start time.
Oh, yeah, I took Cal. I took the 10.5, and I should have pulled the trigger 2 days ago when I was looking at the Circa app, and they actually went up to 11.5. And I thought, well, that's a bad sign, because of a sharp book like Circa, if the number's going up, that means some really sharp money's coming in on Miami. Well, the number dropped back down to 10.5, and yeah, I took that with the Golden Bears last night. Again, the Hurricanes hit the road for a night game in Berkeley, where it's going to be a tricky test. I think that Justin Wilcox is one of the better defensive coaches in the country, and he didn't get a lot of credit for it, but he is, and he's had a bye week to prepare for this game, and he knows Cam Ward too, because Ward was at Washington State. And Cal beat Washington State 42-39 last year. Now, he didn't exactly shut down that Cam Ward-led offense for the Cougars last year, but Justin Wilcox knows what he's up against here. And if you look at the numbers for the Cal defense this season, very impressive. I know that Auburn and Florida State, San Diego State are some pretty bad offensive teams. And this is a different animal you're facing here in the Hurricanes with Cam Ward, who has 18 touchdown passes in 5 games. But Cal's 3-1. Our game, Florida State, 410 to 284 on the road, and the only loss. I think Fernando Mendoza, even though the numbers are not that impressive, is a quarterback who's good enough. The running game's got to be the engine for the Cal offense here with Jaden Ott, JB, and Thomas, guys who can move the ball on the ground against this Miami defense. You know, it might be a case that the Hurricanes just have too much offensive firepower. But I'm going to go with the coaching edge here with Justin Wilcox, his defense, and a week to prep. And I think the Golden Bears can hang tough here, if not pull off the upset.
This is the late night game, 10:30 Eastern, games that you and I, Matt, love to bet to wrap up the day. Cal plus the points for you. We're talking to Matt Youmans at Matt Youmans 247. Check out his best bets article up on VSiN.com. Also take a listen and subscribe to the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast. Matt and I broke down the whole Week 6 card there earlier this week. And a common play again for you and I was Minnesota. I just talked about this game. The Gophers are hosting USC today in a pretty tricky spot, in my opinion, for USC, coming off of 2 straight games at Michigan, home to Wisconsin. Next week, they play Penn State. Minnesota showed some fight, battled all the way back, really should have had an opportunity to go win the game against Michigan, but a bad call overturned a onside kick. So right now in the market, Circa sits USC 8. 8.5 would be the consensus number. The Westgate Superbook has actually gone to a 9. What do you see tonight in the Twin Cities, USC at Minnesota, Matt?
Well, you talked about the game last week. Minnesota's rally came up short against Michigan with some help from the officials. But what I saw there, too, in the second half was that I thought because Michigan's offense is so one-dimensional, its defense started to wear down. On the flip side, the Gophers really showing some fight. And I think that's what you're going to see here. PGA Flex teams typically do fight in the home dog role, and I think that'll be the case here. That game against Iowa got out of hand a couple of weeks ago in the second half, but I think the Gophers are going to hang in here. Miller Moss has been pretty good at quarterback so far for USC. Yeah, Woody Marks at running back. Jacoby Lane and Zachariah Brandt scare me because those are two big-time wide receivers. Minnesota's got to be able to contain those guys in the secondary. But if you look at the Minnesota defense so far, I think the numbers are pretty impressive. This defense is not a pushover. Gophers are probably good enough offensively just to hang in there, give themselves a shot in the fourth quarter. Max Prosper is no superstar, but he's improving at quarterback. Darius Taylor is one of the better running backs in the Big Ten. And hey, let's face it, USC was getting pushed around by Wisconsin last week for 2 quarters and into early in the third quarter. 5 minutes into the third, Wisconsin had a lead 21-10. They fumble a punt, they throw a late pick 6, and it looks like a blowout in favor of USC. That was not really the case if you watch that game. So I think, it's a sandwich spot too, Tim, because USC off that game at Michigan, and then they're home last week against Wisconsin. Now they go to Minnesota for a road game. They're asked to cover a significant number here, and guess who's on deck? Penn State at the Coliseum next week. So this might be a spot that the Trojans are looking past a little bit.
Yeah, it was the special today at the Murray Delicatessen. USC laying this number in a sandwich spot, so give me the Gophers. All right, before we let you run, Matt, let's go back out to the Bay Area. Stanford hosting Virginia Tech. I know Stanford's got some issues at the quarterback position with injuries, but you and I both think this is a really tricky spot for the Hokies. So final minute, Virginia Tech at Stanford. Cardinal catching 8 against Virginia Tech here.
Well, if they're laying 8, I'm not playing Stanford.
Yeah, me neither.
I wonder if Virginia Tech's ground attack is too much for Stanford to stop here. That's going to be the key to the game, but we're not sure who's going to be a quarterback for Stanford. Ashton Daniels has a lower body injury. Justin Lamson, though, I think is a capable backup. It's going to come down to Stanford's ability to run the ball and stop the run. And Troy Taylor is a coach I really like. Don't forget, the Cardinal went to Syracuse and upset the Orange on the road a couple weeks ago. And if you watched Syracuse last night, that's not a bad team. I think Stanford's live dog here catching 8.
I'm with you. Took the points in the first half and the full game. Matt, always appreciate it, man. Enjoy the Saturday.
Okay, you bet. Thanks, you too.
There he is. Our colleague here at VSiN, my co-host on VSiN Primetime, as well as the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast, Matt Humans. The SEC, it's always busy. Chris Doering, he joins us next.
What's better than 1 win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get 1 line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do.
This is Mario. These symptoms could be. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopRex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
Game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join vsin, the sports betting network.
You're watching VSiN's College Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the sports betting network, where you get your winners.
Getting you ready for week 6 of the college football season. Yes, it did start on Thursday. Dogs were barking last night, 3-1 against the spread here in Las Vegas. A thriller as Syracuse comes out and beats UNLV in overtime, 44-41. Coming up, top of the hour, we'll get you all set for those noon Eastern games. Texas A&M, Missouri. Stormy Bonatoni on the sidelines. We'll hear from her in 15 minutes. Before we get to our guests, quick note here. Grayson McCall, the Coastal Carolina transfer, now at NC State, has not been a great start to his NC State tenure, has missed the last couple of games due to injury. He is expected to start. He was taking warm-up snaps with starting center Zeke Carell. So NC State, a 4-point home favorite against Wake Forest. That game kicking off at noon Eastern time. Grayson McCall will get the start according to reports. All right, let's head to our progressive guest line and welcome in a former Florida wide receiver, now an analyst for the SEC Network. Chris Doering joins us on our progressive guest line. And Chris, we've only got one showdown between top 25 teams on this Saturday, and it's Missouri heading on the road to Texas A&M. First road test for the Tigers. What do you expect to see in about 30 minutes down in College Station?
Let me start by clarifying something real quick. You were only highlighting the fact that there were two ranked-on-ranked teams playing one another today. Only one ranked-on-ranked game. This was a sneaky good schedule in the SEC, though. There are a lot of pitfalls today. We have 3 ranked teams that are going on the road against unranked opponents. And I guarantee you at least one of those is going to lose outright, if not more than that. And I think Missouri being the number 9 team in the polls, going on the road to A&M, it is a little bit of a fishy line with A&M being favored. But I honestly believe that A&M is the better football team right now. And I was high on Missouri in the offseason. I had them as one of my college football playoff teams. I just have been a little disappointed with the way that they've played, particularly on the offensive side. Defensively, they've done a nice job. Had to replace defensive coordinator Blake Baker and they certainly have not missed a beat to this point. I do think they're a little untested. This will be the first road test that they'll face as they go on the road to play against the Texas A&M team that I think has really taken on the persona of their coach, Mike Elko. Defensive-minded guy, brought physicality to A&M when he was there as the defensive coordinator under Jimbo Fisher. They've got the run game going right now. Le'Veon Moss, one of the top rushers in the conference. And it'll be interesting to see who they end up going with at the quarterback spot today. Marcel Reed has won the last 3 ball games as the starter, but Connor Wegman supposedly is healthy. And I do think the offense has been tweaked a bit to fit what Marcel Reed does well, which includes running the football a little bit better than Connor Wegman. So I like Texas A&M in this ball game, but I do think there are some interesting storylines and matchups within the matchups to keep your eye on.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I opened the show that way, Chris, saying, hey, these are the Saturdays that we live for as college football fans, because these ones are the ones that get the wackiest. And you've got 8 of the top 15 teams in the country on the road. I'm with you. I like Texas A&M here in this spot, one of my first bets of the week. So let's get to one of those road games. We haven't really hit on it. Tennessee at Arkansas. Woo Pig Suey, they're going to be calling the Hogs tonight. ABC primetime, 7:30 Eastern time. And Tennessee, look, give them all the credit in the world. I tried to get in front of that train 2 weeks ago, Chris. I was wrong. I took the points with Oklahoma. Right now, Tennessee, a 2-touchdown favorite on the road at Arkansas. Can this Arkansas team? I almost said KJ Jefferson. He's now taking on your alma mater today with UCF. But can Arkansas and Bobby Petrino dialing up the plays? Can they keep this thing close against Tennessee tonight?
Yeah, I think some interesting statistics that I looked at this week. First and foremost, we're praising Nico Iamaleava and this offense for Tennessee, and they certainly do deserve to be praised. But who've they played defensively? In terms of total defense statistics, they haven't faced a top 40 defense yet. In Oklahoma, I consider them to be a really good defense, but statistically they're 48th as it relates to total defense on the season thus far. So I do think there are things that need to be answered by Tennessee. I also think that there is a unique challenge in Taylor Green, as you mentioned, being the quarterback at Arkansas now. He brings a dynamic of being able to elude the rush, to extend plays. And one of the questions we had about Tennessee this year was how good would their secondary be? The defensive front for Tennessee has been tremendous, probably overexceeded the hype of the offseason. They've been able to maybe cover up some of the questions in the secondary with their pass rush ability. Taylor Green is going to extend plays. The offensive line for Arkansas is not great, but he does bring that running ability that you saw some of with Michael Hawkins when they inserted him in the Oklahoma game a couple weeks back. So I think the defense for Tennessee gets tested today in the secondary. I'm so tempted to take Arkansas to win outright, but I believe Tennessee probably wins, but too many points in my book to be able to take them as the big favorite. So give me the folks from Fayetteville and what I think is going to be a really nice home field advantage for the Hogs today.
Yeah, that is one game I have not bet yet, but I think ultimately I'll probably get to the window. And what could go wrong going against Tennessee yet again? I was able to stay off at least for the NC State game. Chris Doering joining us here on our Progressive guest line, former Florida wide receiver, now with the SEC Network. You can catch him all day long on the SEC Network, breaking down, as he mentioned, a very intriguing card. So I love letdown spots. I think it is a thing in college football. You could point right to Notre Dame earlier this year, beats A&M, loses in Northern Illinois as a 4-touchdown favorite. So Alabama, you beat the big boy in Georgia. You threw some haymakers early, and then you lost the lead, and then you get the win. You're going to Vanderbilt. It's going to be a decent environment, I imagine. Plenty of Alabama fans there, Chris. Diego Pavia gives this team just a unique wrinkle. They're north of a 3-touchdown favorite. Can Vanderbilt, can the Doors catch maybe a little fat and happy Alabama this afternoon and keep this thing close?
Yeah, first and foremost, Diego Pavia, you mentioned. I mean, this dude not only brings a wrinkle, but he brings a little bit of an attitude to Vandy that they haven't had in a long time. I really love watching this guy play. And you also mentioned the 3-touchdown favorite that Alabama's been established as. Seems like it should be more than that, doesn't it? I mean, that seems a little fishy in and of itself, but I do think there are some unique dynamics that you mentioned. And to me, it's not really about Alabama versus Vandy today. It's Alabama versus Alabama. How do they handle success? How do they handle a potential trap game? You've seen the rat traps that they've laid around the facility there in Tuscaloosa. But I really do believe that when you go to Nashville to play Vandy, it's a unique challenge. I've played there twice as a college player. It doesn't have the juice that you typically play it in the SEC. You got to bring your own kind of excitement and enthusiasm. You're in a smaller locker room. So there are some inherent challenges that I think Alabama, who's still trying to figure out who they are under a new head coach, is going to face today. And so I really think it's more about their focus. I think they obviously win the game, but I do think it could be a little closer than maybe what a lot of people are thinking.
3:30 Eastern on ESPN. South Carolina is hosting Ole Miss, and Ole Miss, let me run you through these numbers: 772, 655, 649, 607. Those were total yardage numbers first 4 weeks against Furman, Wake, Georgia Southern, Middle Tennessee. They go up in Classic Kentucky last week, Chris, and they only have 353 yards, and they get upset by Big Blue Nation. If they had won that game, I would be all over South Carolina here. But I do wonder if you've got a mad Ole Miss squad. What do you make of this Ole Miss South Carolina game? Gamecocks coming off a bye here, and as we saw against LSU and we saw against Kentucky, South Carolina, man, they got some fight in them.